So I'm Chris Bova. I'm a former Marine. Grew up in Park City, Utah. Had a pretty ideal upbringing. I feel like I hit the jackpot in all regards. I was born into a family that did really well for themselves. Both my parents, my mom and my dad, lived in Park City and provided for me everything I wanted. 9/11 happened, and it's not that I was living anywhere close to New York City or had any close ties, really. Kind of felt a calling to join the military. So I waited till I was 18. On my 18th birthday, I went down to MEPS, signed the paperwork, and within a couple months was off to boot camp. The very first firefight I was ever in was in Sahara Desert in Iraq, and one of the elements stumbled upon a group of about 23 insurgents that were ready to rock. We hit that building, did a raid on it, and the firefight lasted a pretty lengthy time. We were outnumbered, outgunned. These guys were screaming out of the building with suicide vests on, blowing themselves up, trying to get us. And it was just tunnel vision at that point. Pulled right in front of the building, and we just started hooking and jabbing. And we ended up killing every one of those insurgents but one. And there was times that were really, really intense and focused, where I remember every detail, and times that were kind of blurry. So the next day we were digging through rubble of a building that took a bunch of, JDAM bombs on it. And there's just dead bodies everywhere. And I didn't feel fazed by it. I was actually kind of like, I can do this for a long time. That was fun. One firefight in particular where I was a saw gunner. I carried an M249 saw, which is a light machine gun, and I was going down the main hallway and a guy was just running directly at me, and I just pulled the trigger until his body stopped 5 feet in front of me, and he probably had 50 rounds in his torso. So I'd go on deployment for 2 months, come home for 2 months, and there was no transition period. I got off a plane in Washington, D.C. and took a plane to Park City, Utah. And the next day I'm home with family and friends, and it was just overstimulus, culture shock over and over again, and I didn't necessarily know what to do, so I would just drink. I didn't want to feel the emotions. I was young. I had no clue what to do, and had no one really to reach out to. Every day I was home, I'd be snorting cocaine and polishing off half a bottle of whiskey in the morning. And I burned bridges with my family, with my friends, didn't give a fuck. Some of my buddies that were on the same program as me, and we were also in the Marine Corps together, they were like, "What the fuck are you doing, man? We've got higher expectations for you." It wasn't really until I sobered up, I made a pact with my best friend, like, hey, I'm not gonna fucking drink, because every bad decision I've made in my life has been filled with booze and cocaine. Stayed the course and came to realize that I have zero fucking control over anything in life except for choice. I just didn't want to be a fucking statistic. I just fucking made a choice that I'm gonna go on and do things that my friends that were killed in combat or that came home and killed themselves would be fucking proud of. I want to make myself proud of the life I lived. I moved to Dallas, Texas in February of this year. I was introduced to Brian Shotwell, and Brian and I kind of kicked it off right away. Kind of spoke the same language, had shared similar experiences as far as the military life goes, and we both enjoy the CrossFit type training and always striving to better ourselves mentally and physically. And his brand is called Honeybeard Training. It started off as, an occasional Saturday I would go up to his place and we would do a little meathead lifting out in the sun in the Texas sunshine. And he talked about wanting to open up a CrossFit gym out on his own and doing something to help veterans. And that sparked interest for me immediately. I was like, man, I want to get involved in whatever ideas you have. Let me know. I want to support this. And then he launched a line of Honeybeard protein. A percentage of the money he makes off of his protein sales goes towards mental health for veterans, because there's a stigma in society around that's attached to PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, particularly with veterans. It's not a disease. It's not something that people are just going to snap and go crazy on you. It's bringing awareness to this is really, really, really important right now. I've had a handful of friends that had nowhere to turn and nobody said it was okay to talk about it, that took their own lives. And there's currently 22 veterans that kill themselves a day. We need to find a way to help the veteran community so we can lower that number and hopefully eliminate that number completely. So the mission is to sell a ton of protein and align Honeybeard with organizations to bring awareness to help those guys out that are dealing with some really, really tough stuff. Enable guys and ladies who served to come back and live fulfilling, joyful lives. Hey, I'm Chris Bova. Join us in helping reduce veteran suicides.